At 3:47 in the morning, 3 Neptune cruise missiles lifted off from hidden positions in southern Ukraine. Each one carried 750 pounds of high explosive. Their target sat 114 miles away across the Black Sea. Russia's Cascading oil terminal, a sprawling industrial complex that pumped 240,000 barrels of crude oil every single day through massive pipelines into waiting tanker ships. The missiles climbed to 15,000 feet and accelerated to 530 miles per hour. Their navigation computers had 3 sets of GPS coordinates locked in exactly 14 minutes. Those 3 locations would cease to exist. But the Neptunes weren't coming alone. 4 minutes after the missiles launched, 3 sea drones kicked their engines to full power 79 miles southwest of the terminal. Each one looked like a small speedboat packed with 1,000 pounds of military-grade explosives. They hit 44 miles per hour and aimed straight for the offshore loading docks. And from the northwest, 6 commercial drones, the kind you can buy online, but modified to carry 88-pound bombs, were racing in at 112. At 3:54 in the morning, Lieutenant Alexei Surkov was staring at his radar screen at the S-400 air defense battery near Gelendzhik. 2 contacts appeared on his display. Range, 123 miles. Speed, 530 miles per hour. Altitude, 15,000 feet. His hand hovered over the launch button. His system could hit targets out to 155 miles. He had them cold. Easy shot, but his orders were crystal clear. Do not fire unless you absolutely confirm these are hostile. Last month, another battery commander had shot down what he thought was a Ukrainian drone. Turned out to be a Russian reconnaissance plane with a broken transponder. That commander was now stationed in Siberia, counting supplies. Surkov radioed for confirmation from the A-50 early warning plane flying over Crimea. Voice shaking, out of breath, shouting under stress, alarms blaring in the background. Control, I have 2 fast movers at 123 miles, bearing 285. Request permission to engage. The response took 47 seconds. 47 seconds where the missiles covered another 7 miles. At 3:56, the coastal radar picked up something else. 3 surface contacts moving at 44 miles per hour. The fleet command in Sevastopol ordered 2 patrol boats to intercept. The nearest boat, Romeo 7, was 58 miles south. Simple math, the patrol boat could hit 50 miles per hour in calm seas. Today, the waves were choppy. Realistic speed, 46 miles per hour. The sea drones were 55 miles from the terminal. By the time Romeo 7 got there, the drones would already be at the target. They were trying to catch missiles with a rowboat. At 4:02, the 6 small drones dropped down to 150 feet above the water. At that altitude, they vanished from the S-400 radar. The operator saw the contacts disappear and assumed it was a glitch. Happens all the time with low-flying birds or atmospheric interference. The drones kept coming. Invisible now. At 4:12, the A-50 plane finally confirmed. Hostile contacts confirmed. You are cleared to engage. Surkov had 11 minutes before those missiles reached Cascading. He pressed the launch button. 2 interceptor missiles blasted out of their tubes at 4:17. The roar was deafening. These things accelerated to 4,500 miles per hour in less than 5 seconds. Flight time to target, 91 seconds. But at 30 miles from Cascading, the Neptune missiles suddenly dove. From 7,000 feet to 2,800 feet in 8 seconds, then down to 1,200 feet. At 12 miles out, they were flying at just 400 feet, weaving between hills. The S-400 radar lost them for 2.7 seconds as they passed behind a ridge. When the system got them back, the interceptor missiles had already overshot. They exploded 1,100 feet above empty hillside. Surkov swore and launched 4 more interceptors at 4:19. But now the Neptune missiles were just 7 miles out, and they turned on their jamming systems. Suddenly, Surkov's screen showed 8 contacts, then 12, then 17. His interceptors went after the strongest radar returns. 3 of them chased clouds of metallic chaff. The 4th one got close, detonated 280 feet from one of the Neptunes, close enough that shrapnel punched through a hydraulic line. the damaged Neptune slowed down from 560 miles per hour to 450. Its computer compensated, rerouting controls. It kept coming. At the terminal itself, 2 Pantsir gun systems sat on raised platforms a mile north of the main buildings. These were Russia's last hope, close-range defense guns that could fire 5,000 rounds per minute. They were designed for exactly this situation. Cruise missiles in the final approach. At 4:21 and 12 seconds, the first Pantsir locked onto a Neptune at 5.5 miles out. The targeting computer calculated the intercept, and the twin 30mm cannons swiveled into position. But then a second contact appeared at 4.5 miles. The computer had to choose: shoot the closest one first, or figure out which one was more dangerous. It picked the closest target standard procedure. Wrong answer, because the damaged Neptune, the one with the busted hydraulic line, wasn't flying straight anymore. It was climbing to 1,500 feet and then diving at a steep angle. The Pantsir's computer thought this looked like an anti-radar missile trying to home in on the radar dish. But the gun system was already committed to the first target. 2.5 miles, the Pantsir opened fire. The sound was like the world ending. A constant roar of 30mm shells screaming out at 3,150 feet per second. Tracer rounds lit up the darkness, creating a cone of steel 1,200 feet wide. The first Neptune flew straight into it. 3 hits registered in less than half a second, then 7 more. The missile's body started coming apart. At 1.7 miles from the terminal, the warhead detonated. The explosion lit up the sky like a second sun. The pressure wave set off car alarms 9 miles away in Novorossiysk. Burning wreckage rained down across 600 feet of ground. Success. 1 down. But the gun's radar was now blind, dazzled by all the burning debris. It lost track of the damaged Neptune for 1.9 seconds. When it got the lock back, the missile was 1.3 miles out and diving at 850 feet per second. The operator fired 180 rounds in 3.2 seconds. His aim was off by 12 feet. Every round missed. At 4:21 and 49 seconds, the Neptune hit the measurement station. The measurement station was a 3-story concrete building with walls 16 inches thick. It housed the terminal's brain, the computers that monitored oil flow through 6 massive pipelines, the pressure sensors that watched for problems, the automated valves that could shut everything down in an emergency. Soviet engineers built it to survive a direct hit from artillery. They calculated it could take a 152mm howitzer shell and keep working. They didn't plan for a 750-pound warhead traveling at 450 miles per hour. The Neptune punched 9 feet into the building before it exploded. The blast wave moved through concrete faster than the material could crack. The building didn't collapse, it just disintegrated. Concrete turned into supersonic shrapnel steel reinforcement bars, snapped like spaghetti. The explosion cut 14 main data cables, destroyed 23 pressure sensors, obliterated every valve control, and left a crater 22 feet deep where the building used to be in Moscow. Every single alarm for Shishkaris went off at once. Oil flow, no data. Pressure, no data. Tank levels, no data. Status, no data. At 4:23, the supervisor sent emergency shutdown commands through 3 different backup systems. But every piece of equipment that was supposed to receive those commands was in the measurement station. The measurement station that was now a smoking hole in the ground. 6 pipelines kept flowing at full pressure. 1,270 gallons per second of crude oil surging toward a terminal that was about to become hell on earth. At 4:24 and 15 seconds, everything hit at once. The 3 sea drones reached the outer harbor. The 6 small aerial drones popped up from their low-altitude approach, coming in from 3 different directions. The second Pantsir system had been tracking them for 43 seconds, but its targeting computer was going crazy, trying to handle 6 different targets. The operator picked the closest threat, a drone at 1.1 miles. He opened fire at 4:24 and 31 seconds. 89 rounds hit. The drone exploded in a ball of fire. But while he was shooting at that one, another drone had closed to 0.7 miles. Too close to swivel the guns in time, he switched to missiles. Flight time, 4 seconds. But the drone only needed 22 seconds to cover 0.7 miles. The missile intercepted it at 1,100 feet out, close enough that wreckage fell onto the tank farm. 3 drones were still coming. The operator frantically tried to reacquire. He got a lock on the 3rd drone, fired his autocannons. The drone juked left, then right. Most rounds missed. A few connected, tearing through its wing, but not enough to bring it down. At 0.4 miles out, he launched another missile. It detonated close to the drone. A proximity kill. The drone was damaged, trailing smoke, but its momentum carried it forward. At 4:25 and 12 seconds, it slammed into the western edge of the tank farm. The 88-pound warhead detonated between 2 massive storage tanks. The explosion tore through metal walkways and shredded pipeline connections. But the real damage wasn't the blast itself. It was what the blast ignited. The terminal's tank farm held millions of gallons of petroleum products. On this warm night, with temperatures in the mid-80s, those tanks were venting vapor, invisible clouds of highly flammable gas spreading across the ground. The drone's detonation created a spark in an atmosphere loaded with fuel vapor. The initial fireball expanded to 785 feet across in less than 2 seconds core temperature, 3,362 degrees Fahrenheit. The blast wave moved at 1,500 miles per hour, shattering windows 9 miles away. Earthquake sensors registered it as magnitude 2.11 of the massive storage tanks exploded. But 2 more drones were still inbound. And the second Neptune missile was seconds away. At 4:28, the second Neptune missile, the one damaged earlier, reached the terminal. Its guidance system was barely functioning. It was aimed at the main pump station but was off target by 600 feet. It hit Pipeline Bridge 2 instead. Pipeline Bridge 2 spanned a 148-foot drainage canal. It carried 4 critical pipes, 2 48-inch crude oil lines, 1 36-inch refined product line, and 1 24-inch natural gas line that fed fuel to the pumping stations. The 750-pound warhead detonated at the bridge's center. The blast wave sheared through girders designed to hold nearly 2 million pounds. Rivets popped. Welds failed. The entire structure collapsed. The massive pipes, each weighing over 400,000 pounds when full, twisted and buckled, collapsing into the canal 46 feet below with a crash that could be heard 3 miles away. At 4:28 and 41 seconds, the 4th aerial drone hit the edge of the tank farm. The explosion created a chain reaction. Pipeline after pipeline ruptured. Storage tanks buckled. Welds failed. Seams split. Fuel that was safely contained seconds ago was now spreading across the facility, and all of it was on fire. The entire western half of the terminal was now an inferno. Flames reached 300 feet into the air, and the sea drones hadn't even hit yet. The 3 sea drones reached the offshore loading platform 3/4 of a mile from shore. The Alexander Nevsky was moored there, a 1,089-foot tanker loading 1.4 million barrels of crude oil. The first sea drone hit the platform's northwest support leg at 4:30 and 18 seconds. The 1,000-pound shaped charge punched through 16 inches of reinforced concrete. The blast severed the main power cable. Every pump stopped instantly. The momentum of all that oil created a hydraulic hammer, a massive pressure. Emergency check valves should have prevented backflow. But one of those valves was controlled by the measurement station that had been destroyed 9 minutes ago. Crude oil surged backward through the pipeline. At 4:30 and 43 seconds, a joint on the platform failed. Oil started spraying across the platform deck at 53 gallons per second. The second drone hit the south support leg at 4:30 and 51 seconds. This leg housed all the fire suppression equipment. The shaped charge detonated inside the equipment room. The fire suppression system was obliterated. Now the platform was covered in crude oil with no way to fight a fire. At 4:31 and 6 seconds, the third sea drone slammed into the Alexander Nevsky's hull at the waterline. 1,000 pounds of high explosive detonated. The shaped charge punched a 14-foot hole through the outer hull. Aftermath, Ukraine launched 9 weapons. Russia stopped 1. 8 got through. The measurement station was obliterated. Pipelines destroyed. The tank farm an inferno. A supertanker sinking. The attack lasted 14 minutes. Russia's S-400 batteries missed. The Pantsir guns were overwhelmed. Emergency shutdowns failed. The facility that took decades to build was destroyed faster than watching a sitcom. Damage, $2.8 billion, 6 months before limited operations could resume, 18 months for full capacity. The consequences will last for years.